Hey everyone, welcome to the channel where we talk about all things movies. Welcome especially if you're new. If you enjoy talking about movies and staying up to speed on what's in theaters and what's worth checking out, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my reviews when they post. Alright, with that we're going to get into today's review, which is for Vengeance. I just got back from seeing it at the theater, so we're going to dive in. And to begin with just a brief synopsis, this movie is about a radio host from New York City who attempts to solve the murder of a girl he hooked up with and travels down south to investigate the circumstances of her death and discover what happened to her. So this is going to be a spoiler review. There's just, I think, a lot to talk about in the movie that I want to get into specifics, so spoiler warning from here on out. And first up, I'd like to talk about the main character, and he's played by BJ Novak. And in the very first scene, I got a lot of vibes of Ryan from The Office, mainly because that's pretty much the only thing I've seen BJ in. I think he had a very brief part in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. But other than that, like, he is synonymous in my mind with Ryan. So I was seeing a lot of that, but I think as the movie went on, he became his own character, and I wasn't making connections to Ryan constantly. So I was very happy that I could do that, and I didn't only see Ryan coming through in the character, because I think he is an interesting character. I do think they keep him fairly relatable, where he's not super unique one way or the other. He is kind of your average person, but that still makes, like, they still keep him interesting though. He's got some good qualities. He's got some not so good qualities, which is the case for a lot of us. And the movie kind of dives into those. And yeah, I mean, sometimes it highlights his strengths. Like he's very good at articulating his thoughts and kind of having some ideas, and pulling that out of other people. But then he's also, he's part of hookup culture, and he's not necessarily, I mean, whether that or not that makes him a bad person, I wouldn't say that's a bad person, but that's one of his lesser qualities, and certainly he's got to get dragged to go down to the funeral in Texas, which I don't think I would. Yeah, as that was playing out, there was a lot of like sort of awkward situations throughout this film, which there again for BJ being so involved with The Office had several callbacks to The Office, which a lot of its a lot of its humor and situations are just very, very awkward. So I'm not surprised to see that BJ, having written and directed this film, pulled some of that in because he was a writer on The Office. So the other things that I liked about the film was kind of how the story changes, or like at least the mystery part. So we at first just assumed that it was a drug overdose, and we're kind of experiencing this through the main character and through Ben, and we are. Yeah, at first he's like, yeah, it was just a overdose. That's what people said. And even when the brother is like, I think she was killed, he's not really buying it, but he's like, this might be a good story. People making up murder for them to be able to process their grief. Although that was only one part of it. I think he certainly expressed it a lot better than that. But and then like as you're starting to dig in, you're like, oh, there might be something fishy going on here, and her death seems fairly. There's a lot of circumstances that go into it. Like, why was she right there? Yeah, she was at a party that nobody went to, but everyone went to, or they say everyone went to, but nobody went to. And then she's like right at the edge of the jurisdiction of a lot of people, and so it starts to plant those seeds. Like, yeah, that's maybe something did happen. And then they reveal fairly later on that she did actually use drugs, even though like people were using the same line. She wouldn't even touch Advil, like feeding him this lie the whole film, and then the grandma just blurts it out that she was a pill popper. So that was like a slap across the face, watching the film as an audience member, where it's just like, wait, what? And Ben has the same reaction, and I think reacts in a very expected way, where he's just like, like, what am I doing here? And just calls them all out. He's just angry at the situation, and he takes it out on them. But then I really liked how, in the end, I mean, it was a little circumstantial that he guessed her code, but I liked that how they developed that, where they kind of laid the groundwork for that as well for the, head sees, or heart sees heart. That's what it is. And she abbreviated that to 545 because that's the number of letters in each of those words. And then the little brother is always saying "I love you mucho" throughout the film. So naturally, that's a four. Like she converted that to a four-digit combination. So I thought that was actually kind of clever. Although it was kind of convenient for when he found that out to make the connections. And so there was another turn of events which I really liked. And then they planted the seed just enough where, at least for me, I suspected the record producer when we saw him at the party. I'm like, oh, that's the guy. And then they go into it. But even that, it wasn't exactly what you thought. Like, he didn't kill her, he just let her die. And but what definitely took me by surprise the most was when Ben shot him. Like, I was not expecting that. That was a really fun experience to go through that and not see it coming. But but throughout the film there's just a lot of interesting ideas. Like, it's filming this guy who's making a podcast, and so like a lot of like a podcast is only, voice and ideas. There isn't any sort of visual like you get with a movie, so it has to be something interesting. And I thought there was just so much throughout this film I can't even like start to. Well, I mean, for some of them, like when the record producer's like, yeah, you'll tell that story, and I'm fine with you telling it, but then people are gonna start siding with me because everyone has their own take, because like that's the thing. And yeah, just like so many observations and interesting thoughts that I really liked the script for this. I thought BJ did a phenomenal job, and that was probably one of my favorite things is just the ideas that it throws around. And I think it's good food for thought, and it's not stuff I had necessarily considered before, so found it very interesting in that way. I thought they did a pretty good job with the family of the girl, and like I thought they were all like sort of stereotypical, but like also done well. I mean, they each had kind of character, and it was nice to see Jerry from Succession. I forget the actress's name, but I'd seen her. She plays the mom in this, but I've seen her in Succession, and then I was surprised to see Ashton Kutcher in there as the record producer. But some funny moment, a lot of funny moments throughout the film. I think it was definitely my type of humor, and things like things like the grandma telling the story of the Alamo, and or the Alamo, and then Ben's like, and they won. And she's like, no, 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 no. Like, that's, I mean, you'd think everyone knows that, no, the Alamo is not a happy story, but that's not the world we live in. People don't necessarily know things like that, so. Yeah, I think those are most of the things I liked about the film. Or even just like, his car blowing up. That's another like subplot of the mystery. And it was just Texans who who just wanted to blow up his car because he said he was a Longhorns fan. Is it seems about on par for the reputation that Texans have. And I think part of that they're happy to have that reputation, is my understanding from the little interactions I've had. But hopefully that's not offensive. I think I think they wear it on their sleeve. I think it's a little overdone, but I don't think Texans let that sort of reputation get to them. But anyway, so overall I thought it was very clever movie, very very well scripted, and I thought the cinematography was pretty good. It had some interesting shots throughout to kind of line up with what was going on. Oh, I thought the publicist or the editor, his editor was also kind of a nice touch to kind of break away from Texas, so you're not always there, but it kind of gave a bit of variety to the film that way. And I thought made the flow a lot better when you could kind of bounce back and forth that way. But overall I really enjoyed this film. I think like my enjoyment of it kind of kept going up and up and up as just more interesting ideas kept coming on, and as the kind of the story unfolds in the end. Oh, and I mean, you can't complain when there's a long shot on a stack of Harry Potter books, And then he like, yeah, I liked that the drug or the cartel guy said like he would call her just to talk to her, and she would read the books to him because he wasn't allowed to read them. I thought that was great. And I also like another really clever thing like for and like the script, as far as the script goes, where he's like, yeah, I didn't kill her, like I would never kill her, but like also I don't want to kill anybody, but like that's part of what it takes to get into the cartel. So if I just let them think that I killed her, then I might not have to kill anybody else. I'm like, man, that's a depressing thought. But I guess, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. That's what that guy was doing. So yeah, overall, I like the film quite a bit. I give this a letter grade of an 8. I don't know that I wouldn't say it's like one that you should have to go see in theaters. I mean, it was enjoyable on the big screen, but it felt more of the scale of probably a streaming movie. Not to say don't go see it in theaters, but you probably don't have to rush out to see it. But I'd say definitely see it at some point. It is a good movie, and I recommend it. But if you've had a chance to see it, though, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And yeah, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any of my reviews when they drop. Alright, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.